Hello everyone, welcome back to Syntax Diary. I hope you are all doing great. First off, I want to thank you all for your patience. I had to take a short break due to a family emergency, but now I am back with another valuable session for all automation testers out there. Today we are going to cover 10 crucial scenario-based interview questions that can help you crack your next automation testing job interview with confidence. These are the kinds of questions that really test your problem-solving skills, real-world experience, and understanding of automation frameworks. So, if you are preparing for an automation testing role, make sure you watch till the end. And if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Now, let's start. Your automated tests for a login page are failing intermittently. How would you investigate and fix this issue? If my login tests are failing randomly, I would first look for patterns. For example, do the failures happen after a new deployment or only in a specific browser like Firefox? Then I would check the test environment because once my tests failed because the test server ran out of memory. Next, I would review my test scripts. A common issue is using thread.slip instead of explicit waits, which can cause failures if the page loads slower than expected. Finally, I would check the logs. In one case, the browser console showed a JavaScript error that disabled the login button, which was the real issue. Now let's move to the next question. The website you are testing has elements that constantly change IDs or positions. What techniques would you use to create reliable locators for your tests? I have worked with websites where element IDs change every time the page loads. In such cases, I use more stable attributes. For example, if there is a unique data tested attribute, I use that in my locator. Relative XPaths can also help. Let's say the login button is always inside a div with the class login form. I can use an XPath like /div@class is equal to login form /button to find it reliably. This ensures my tests remain stable even if element positions or IDs change. Now let's move to the next question. A critical API endpoint is returning unexpected errors. How would you use automation to help debug this? When debugging APIs, I like to use Postman to send requests and check the responses. I create a test suite covering different scenarios like valid logins, invalid logins, and edge cases such as empty passwords. I add assertions to verify things like the response code. For a successful login, I expect a 200 OK. I also check the response body to ensure it contains the expected data like a user token. If the API is slow, I use JMeter to simulate a heavy load and analyze its performance under stress. Now let's move to the next question. Your web application needs to work flawlessly across different browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari. How would you approach cross-browser test automation? In a previous project, we used Selenium Grid to run tests on Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. Our Jenkins server automatically triggered the tests whenever we pushed new code. For additional coverage, we used Browser Stack to test on less common browsers and mobile devices. We also encountered some browser-specific issues like differences in handling file uploads. So we had to write conditional code to handle those cases properly. This approach ensured our application worked smoothly across different browsers. Now let's move to the next question. Users complain about slow loading times on a specific page. How can automation help identify performance issues? We once had a page that was taking too long to load. To investigate, I used Selenium to write a test that measured how long it took for the page to become fully interactive. I also integrated this test with JMeter to simulate multiple users accessing the page at the same time. This helped us identify a bottleneck in a database query. After optimizing the query, the page load time improved significantly. Automation helps detect performance issues early, making it easier to optimize slow pages. Now let's move to the next question. You need to test a form with a large number of different input values. How would you efficiently manage and use test data in your automation? I have used data-driven testing extensively for forms. For example, if I am testing a registration form, I create a CSV file with different sets of test data, valid inputs, invalid inputs, boundary values, and more. Then I use my testing framework like TestNG or JUnit to read this data and run the tests with with each dataset. I have also used libraries like Faker to generate realistic test data such as names, addresses, and email addresses. This approach ensures comprehensive test coverage while keeping the test scripts reusable and easy to maintain. Now let's move to the next question. The company is prioritizing mobile users. How would you automate testing on different mobile devices and operating systems? I have experience using Appium to automate tests for both Android and iOS apps. In one project, we used Appium to test a shopping app. We wrote tests to verify key user flows such as browsing products, adding items to the cart, and completing the checkout process. To ensure good coverage, we ran these tests on a mix of real devices and emulators. We also integrated our Appium test with a CI/CD pipeline, allowing them to run automatically with every new build. This helped us catch issues early and ensured a smooth user experience across different devices. Now let's move to the next question. You encountered a feature that seems impossible to automate, that is audio video playback. How would you handle this in your test strategy? Some features like audio and video playback have limitations when it comes to automation. For example, in a video streaming app, I can automate tests to check if controls like play, pause, and volume work or if the video loads correctly at different resolutions. However, automating things like video quality assessment or buffering issues is much harder. In such cases, I focus automation on functional aspects like UI interactions and API calls. But I also recommend manual testing for areas that require human judgment. Testers can evaluate video playback under different network conditions to ensure a smooth user experience. It's all about balancing automation and manual testing to achieve a full test coverage. Now let's move to the next question. You are tasked with automating tests for an old application with limited documentation. How would you approach this? If I had to automate tests for an older application with little documentation, I would take a structural approach. First, I would collaborate with the development team to understand the application's core functionality and identify the most critical areas to test. Then, I would take a phased approach, starting with small, manageable tests and gradually expanding test coverage. Since documentation is limited, I would rely on exploratory testing to learn how the application behaves and use that knowledge to prioritize automation efforts. In such situations, being adaptable and resourceful is key. Even with minimal information, I am confident in my ability to automate tests effectively. Now let's move to the next question. How would you integrate your automated tests into a continuous integration, continuous delivery pipeline? To ensure our automated tests add real value, I would make them a key part of the CI/CD pipeline. For example, if we are using Jenkins, I would configure it so that whenever developers push new code, Jenkins automatically triggers a build. Once the build is complete, Jenkins would run the automated tests. But it's not just about running tests, it's also about making the results easy to understand. I would configure Jenkins to generate clear reports with graphs showing which tests passed and which failed and how long they took. This way, the whole team can quickly spot issues. If a test fails, the pipeline should immediately notify developers so they can fix it right away. This helps the feedback loop tight and helps catch bugs early. And that wraps up our session on 10 scenario-based automation testing interview questions and answers. I hope these questions and explanations help you feel more confident for your next interview. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to smash the like button. It really helps support the channel. Also, please make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more valuable content like this. I would love to hear from you, so please drop a comment below and let me know which question you found the most interesting or if you have any other doubts related to automation testing. And of course, if you know someone preparing for automation testing interview, please share this video with them. It might just help them land their dream job. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Happy learning. Bye bye.